given the events of last week, with Charlie Kirk dying, Irina, I always forget her name, the Ukraine young girl. Like in one week, we had it was a shitstorm for the week, and it really put me in like the worst funk imaginable. Just because of this isn't me saying I'm like the biggest Charlie Kirk fan, or this isn't about that. This is just about people dying, and how the world sort of stopped for a second, and the entertainment industry stopped, and it affected everything around us. And after that, it felt like that's why I haven't really put out a video, except for like yesterday. I finally put out one that I had actually recorded before that day, last Wednesday. But I just want to say, I want to thank Davey and Nick, because I'm not going to lie. I had to build up the energy and the courage to even do the stream tonight. I felt like I kind of forced myself to do it, but I'm glad I did, because Davey and Nick, you guys made me feel good again about talking about pop culture. And yeah, I just want to say thank you to you guys in the chat, because it was a rough week. It was just a really, really rough week. And I know it affected some more than it did others, but I take death seriously, especially when it's a young, these were two very young people that died sort of ironically in the same way.
Well,
Nick,
it's just when it's public like that, like in this day
yeah,
and age, like,
Yeah.
when you see it, we talked about this on Unita for about 15 minutes, and Christian and I were very, very upfront about with how we felt, and I didn't really leave any wiggle room. Like, if you don't see it the same way I do, then I don't care to have you on board my channel. Like, I'll just be brutally honest with you, as somebody that should not be a surprise to some of you guys. I did not agree with pretty much anything Charlie Kirk said, but he had a right to say it. He had a right to live just as everybody else does. And the fact that would happen for to disagree with that person, and I understand. I understand when people come back and be like, "Oh yeah, well, some of the opinions were harmful," and I'm not arguing that. I'm simply just saying, like, the fact that happened and that so many people not only didn't care but celebrated it was just like gross. Like, we've
really bad.
Yeah.
we've
Really
lost
gross.
our humanity. Like, before you're a member of a political party, or before you're anything, you're a human. And like, we're all in this together as humans, and like,
Yep.
we all wish to be able to live long, happy, healthy lives. And when that gets taken away from anybody, especially so violently, it's a shame. Like, it's a travesty. It's disgusting. And
Yeah.
like, anybody that can take the time to find that funny, I just got no use for you, man. Like, you need to look in the mirror, because that is you essentially admitting you've lost your humanity. And that's kind of where we are right now as a culture, where it's like,
Yeah.
we've lost our humanity. Like, that's the
Yeah.
tether. That should be the tether for all of us. Like, at the end of the day, we can sit down and be like, you can be like, I fucking hate this person. I don't agree with a single thing they say. They're a fucking idiot. But it ends there. It ends there. It's not personal. It's not, it's gross, man.
Let's say that I didn't agree with anything Charlie Kirk said, or most of. Let's say I didn't. I do think that what he was doing was a great thing and was important. But what I mean by that is that he was encouraging conversation. Yeah, he could be a little bit aggressive in his approach sometimes, but I think it's better than not talking. And that's one
Yeah.
thing. And I didn't even really watch Charlie Kirk until after. And I did. I'm not going to lie. I went down a rabbit hole and I watched a lot of his stuff. And I will even say that I saw, before I went down that rabbit hole, I saw a lot of people saying, all these things that he was. And this is just my opinion. Okay. But when I watched the stuff, I'd say half of that stuff wasn't true in my mind when I watched it. And I did see compassion, and I did see acceptance. And, he put his microphone down out of respect, just to give people their, but I liked that the conversation was happening. And I mentioned this in the video that I made. if disagreements and having discussions with people that are on the opposing side, I think is extremely important than not talking at all, or talking to somebody that's just, gonna agree with everything you say. Because what does that do? I think opening discussion with the person on the other side of the spectrum, an opposing viewpoint, sometimes can bring about maybe new ideas. Maybe both parties are wrong, but you don't know
But
unless you actually talk about it.
that's the thing that I'm struggling with this right now, is that the fact that there are people that are making fun of it and like laughing and taking victory laps, like that's a problem, a huge problem. And the other problem I'm having with this is like, we're still doing this bullshit about like finger pointing. Like,
Well, it's
I'm
even
done.
worse now.
Well, I'm done with that. It's both of you. It's both of you. Look in the
Yep,
mirror.
it is
Like, look in the mirror.
100%.
Just a couple months ago, two people on the opposite side of the aisle were killed by somebody who had the
Yep.
differing beliefs. Like,
Yep.
stop. This one was just more public because this person was far more influential and a larger public figure. But we cannot sit here and say that we are like, oh, it's 80% this and 20% that. No, it's 50-50. Like, it's happening on both sides because there's crazy people on both sides, because we are so polarized right now that we feel like if we don't agree with somebody, well, we just have to silence them. We have to shut them up, that violence is acceptable, that it's almost necessary. No, it's not. And it's happening on both sides. And I'm sorry, but no matter what narrative you want to spin, the data does not back up the fact that this is predominantly one person's issue and not the others. It is both fucking sides. And until you see that and admit that and go like, dude, we got to turn the temperature down. Holy, we have to. Yeah. It's a fucking problem, man. It's a problem because times like this just take people like, you know what? It's these motherfuckers. No, it's both of you. It's both of you. Like, I'm so over it. Like, it just makes it to where it's like, this is where politics are today. Like, this is where it is. Like, we're just, we're in this fucking quagmire of like, who's going to get killed this week? Who's going to get beat this week? Whose rights are going to be violated this week? Like, it's fucking disgusting.
It's not even surprising anymore.
No, it's not. The data does not back that up. I'm sorry. I'm just talking to the chat. It doesn't back that up. You can have any narrative you want to have. The data does not back up saying that it's not 50-50. Actually, it's not my opinion. That's not my opinion. That's fact. Google it. I know you may not want to trust Google because it might be infected by whatever the fuck bullshit. No, it's both sides. Both sides. It's a fact. I'm done.
But the point here is
I think
go ahead, Davey.
I think, what Charlie Kirk did is something that should be emulated by everybody. So if we're going to talk both sides, let's try to spin a positive. I think it should be emulated by everybody. Our politicians, our highest elected officials for decades now haven't really been able to operate in that manner. When George W. Bush was elected, people were calling him a Nazi and saying that the world would end. That happens every time a Republican gets elected. So maybe violence happens on both sides because of insane people. I notice in my own personal experience and just watching what goes on out there, that there is one side that doesn't use words like fascist and Nazi when they're talking about the other people. And there's one that uses them a lot.
Where were you when Barack Obama was president and everybody just tried to say that he wasn't?
Was he called a Nazi?
And no, they said he was a Muslim that wasn't born in this country. Like, I'm sorry, but during the height of the Islamic panic after 9/11, then
I was there. I know what you're talking about.
I'm just saying,
the current president didn't believe
it. That's what I'm saying. It's just as dangerous. The country was polarized, and they were like, "Holy shit!" Oh, we were. Everybody was terrified. My mom she'd see someone in a hijab in public, and she'd be like, "Oh no," which is stupid. And you had people saying, "Oh, I don't think he's born here. I think he's Muslim. His middle name's Hussein." Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we can all cherry pick an example.
This guy, though, I'll cherry pick the most recent one. The guy that was killed last week was called a fascist and a Nazi. Like, it still is being called that. So I think that it's, I think that the one thing I notice, and what I encourage everyone to do if they don't like Charlie Kirk or whatever, or if they believe those things, is just go watch videos of him talking to people.
Yeah. That's what I was going
And
to say.
you will realize he's a really reasonable guy and a very loving guy. That I've seen so many videos where he's telling people that he directly has opposing viewpoints with, or lifestyles that he doesn't approve of, but he's telling them, I love you. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, it is. So we live in a day and age where you can just get the information, and you don't have to read an article that someone said, or like part of a quote that someone put in their article or on their Facebook post. Like, everything he did was so well documented. You can just find out what kind of person he was that way. And if you don't agree with it, then that. But it's one of those things really where I just think the debate should be emulated. You know,
I think that it just become too much of who we are as people, and I think that that's a problem. Like, I remember growing up, your political affiliation didn't impact who you spoke to or like places you
not at
went.
all.
And like now,
Dude,
everything is identity politics, where it's just like, I can't even visit this place, you know, like my mom's like, I don't want to go to California. And I'm like, oh, shut the fuck up. Like, and people won't go to Florida. You know, it's just
California's great to visit. You don't want to live there because it's too expensive. Visiting's great.
Dude, I was in the military, and I think a lot of people think the military is mostly right, and maybe they're right, but I was in it, so looking from the inside out, I can tell you right now, there were quite a few people on the left and quite a few people on the right, and quite a few different religions. Just every freaking, and I can tell you right now, we never got into an argument. I'm trying to think, racking my brain thinking, did I ever get into a political argument with anybody in the military that was on maybe it doesn't help that I'm kind of in the middle on this. I'm not fully, I have certain values that I appreciate on both sides. I really do. So I think that's why I've always had friends on both sides and I don't think,
and the media is there to fuck it all up for us. The media and
the
the government don't
the
want us to get
problem.
along.
And I just want to say,
and
because
the government,
I see some people in the chat saying stuff like, oh, we don't want to talk about this, like move on, like blah, blah, blah. Guys, the reason we are where we are is because we have sequestered ourselves and we don't talk about it. So no, I'm not going to do that. I feel like if anybody has a platform, you should be able to come at something with decency and humanity and try to find middle ground. And we have to exchange ideas and we have to talk, because the more that we back into our corners, the worse, the lower the chance is that we are ever going to come together again and find our fucking shared humanity. So, and we're not calling out politicians by name. Like, you know, I appreciate somebody said that. We're not saying I'm this side, I'm that side, this side sucks, we love this. No, what we're doing is we're saying it is a dangerous time to live in right now. There is crazy shit said and done every other fucking day, no matter where you go, and us ignoring it and just, or fanning those flames, either one just makes it worse. Like, we gotta talk about these things.
That's like one thing that like Charlie would say, like people would ask him, why do you do this? And he's like, I do this because when we stop talking, that's when violence happens. Like when marriages, when people stop talking in marriages, the marriage suffers. And he said, when civil societies stop talking to each other, that's when civil war happens. So he literally, like, kind of in a way, it's sort of like prophetic as to what happened with him, because the person that, you know, assassinated him in public, it couldn't articulate or even argue. And they, you know, when you don't have that ground to stand on and then you react that way, whether it's name calling or violence or whatever, it's like, yeah, that's the whole point. We have to be able to talk about this stuff. The way we talk about movies here, because we're very respectful on like understanding that people have different opinions on movies and art, we need to apply some of that to social issues and political issues and not assume that the other is an enemy. And I think one thing, like I've said it a couple times moving forward, is like, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, show grace to yourself, show grace to others, know how far you would go for the people that you love in your life, but also at the same time, know which lines you won't cross when it comes to your worst enemy. We've got to have a moral compass, and it doesn't have to come from religion, but everyone's got morals, and anyone that has morals that think that they should cross that line, I feel bad. I pray for you, and I hope you realize that there's a better way to move forward.
I'm just tired of seeing society where it is today. I'm tired of seeing the rot just continue to grow and everybody pointing fingers. and everybody's saying you're the problem. No, you're the problem. And because I view you as a problem, that I am going to then act on that. Or, I mean, it's just gotten to this point where it's like, we've talked about this before. Like I'm not registered to either party. That's public information. You can look it up in my county. I've voted on both sides of the aisle in my life. I have. I genuinely consider myself somebody that is relatively in the middle. And
Same.
if people like us can't talk about what we see and what we're seeing and how it's getting worse, and how, like, hey guys, you know, I'm not a member of the DNC or the RNC coming here to try to get your money or your vote. No, I'm just a dude that's like watching society fucking collapse before my eyes. And like, it just kind of breaks my heart that we're here, that we've lost all empathy for everyone aside from ourselves or people that agree with us, and they're the enemy. And it's just like, no, they're fucking not.
There's people in the, there's people in the
ugly.
chat, they don't want to talk about this stuff. And I get that, but yeah, we're horror channels, and 99% of the time we don't talk about this stuff. But when you have situations like this that happened this last week, I think sometimes we need to talk. And I didn't even plan on talking about this tonight, but I kind of had a feeling once I started talking about it, it's almost like opening up a relief valve, because I think sometimes you have to get stuff out. And I think before this last week, I used to tell myself, don't ever talk about politics on the channel. No. And I still feel that for the most part, but if I can, because there's so much darkness in this world, and that last video I made was about, it wasn't necessarily political, it was just about where we were, and I felt like I needed to talk about the incident with Charlie Kirk and the young girl. And there were people in those comments that said, hey, I'm here to, they clicked on the video, the title of the video and the thumbnail made you know what it was, but for some reason they still watched it.
You're not talking about Halloween? What the fuck?
Yeah. They left a comment stating that I'm not here for that. But meanwhile, the video's got almost 10,000 views. So some people like that, that a horror. Matter of fact, a lot of people said that. Thank you for having the balls to make a video like this in your space.
No, Lee, the last thing I'll say about this, Christian put this best. If you're taking this conversation as political, you are the problem. And I'm just going to say that. If somebody takes us having human fucking decency and compassion and talking about how this shit has gone too far, if that is political to you, you're the problem. You are the problem. I'm not the problem. Lee's not the problem. Davey's not the problem. You are the problem, because you view everything from a political lens when I can view things from a fucking human lens and say it's too far. It's gone too far.
It's too much. I'm sick of it.
And I think it happened to somebody that, the number one thing that he's probably going to be remembered for from most people is not being so brave that you're willing to speak reasonably with somebody until you're shot in the neck for it. So in that spirit, I think that's what's making people sort of be like, enough is enough. I am not going to be afraid anymore. Like I'm going to take that example, and that can be good. Using your words, Dude, it can be really, really good.
I saw a lot of people on the left. I'm not going to say they changed their political affiliation, although some of them did actually. But I saw a lot of freaking comments on YouTube stating that, you know what, I actually went and started watching his stuff after he passed away, hating the guy. And now I don't hate him as much. He's not the monster that I thought he was, because I actually took the time to watch the entire video in the full context. And did I agree with everything he said? No, not at all. But it wasn't about the politics. It was about the discussion and how the discussion was handled and the respect that was given. That's the important. Two people don't have to agree on everything when they're having a conversation. Sometimes it's nice to hear an opposing side. I'll say this: my family, we had a cookout yesterday. My wife, my son, my daughter, and me. And I talked to them, and I was like, you know what? What's cool? I'll tell you right now. One of my children left. One of my children is right, fully. And me and my wife are what we are. And we have never once gotten into an argument with each other about our beliefs. And I can tell you right now, one of my children hated Charlie Kirk. And one of my children yesterday, she says, I like Charlie Kirk, And so I literally had two people in my living room yesterday. One of them hated Charlie Kirk. One of them liked Charlie Kirk. After the conversation, my son was like, well, I just outed my son. he was basically like, okay, you know what? I think I'm going to go start watching a little bit. I'm going to see for myself, because he didn't really, he listened to what was said online, instead of, and don't listen to me. Don't listen to Davey. Don't listen to Nick. Watch for yourself. Make
don't listen
your
to
own
me
opinion
about fucking anything. But
exactly.
But we live in a day and age. Yeah, so much of it is out there, and another thing too is when you cherry pick like the certain things. It's like, man, when I was in my early 20s, I'm happy that everything I said wasn't documented.
But I mean, there's only two factions of people that are doing victory laps with this right now, and it's the people on the super far side of the left that don't even vote in our elections anyway, because they would rather everything be free, and like it's unrealistic expectations, so fuck them. And then you have the people on the super far right that like people like Nick Fuentes that are like, yeah, fuck Charlie Kirk.
And there's people on the super far right that annoy the shit out of me.
Dude,
just like the super far left.
That's what I'm saying. Both
extremism is ugly.
Yes, those two extremes on both sides of the spectrum are fucking dangerous, bro. Just hearing the shit they say.
Unless you're an extreme Rob Zombie Halloween 2 fan.
Yeah,
that's the kind of extremism I'm down for.
And guys, I just want to say to everybody in the chat, like, I wasn't trying. We're not trying to piss anybody off tonight. Like,
not at all.
This is one of the biggest things to happen for us in the United States in a while. It's a flashpoint for us. Like, it is. If we don't talk about it, it seems like we're sweeping it under the rug. And I just want to give a shout out to both the gentlemen here with me, that I would say the three of us were very respectful. And I think the three of us came very much down the middle on this situation about, like, this is about humanity. This isn't about anything else. So I don't know. We all need to do better. Maybe there's somebody in your life that is on the opposite side of the spectrum as you. Maybe this week, try to talk to them about something. Like, try to have like a discourse about something civilly. Like, hey, because I feel like you'll find. I saw a post on Twitter the other day that was so great. It was like, the top, the 1% wants to keep us like this at each other, because the moment we stop, all of us will realize we all want to get from A to B. We just have different ways of getting there. But if we can find middle ground and we can kind of band together and be like, I don't agree with you on this, but we agree on some really important shit. Let's do something about it. That's when they're fucking cooked. And that's what we need to be working to.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't care, like, the things that you believe in and how you vote and all that stuff. Like, I want my neighbors and my fellow countrymen and women to have really good lives. Unless you really are like a vile, like, criminal kind of thing, of course. Yeah. But I mean, like, that's the thing, is like, most often, like, you look at your neighbor and you have more in common with them than you do with the people that are truly in power. And I think that's another part of it too, is us to just sort of realize that we have more things in common than the few things that split us apart. So let's chat nicely about the things that split us apart, and let's celebrate the things that we do love together, like our families and our lives, and and
I love all of you, no matter what you believe, unless it's like absolutely heinous shit. Like, if we have difference of opinions on healthcare or education reform or whatever it is, I still love you, and we can still have these conversations, and there ain't a damn thing wrong with it, because the moment we shut that shit down, we're all fucked.
We don't need to name call, and we don't need to hit each other, or worse.
There's a saying that I really hold near and dear. It's go with love and peace will follow. No matter what conversation you're having, enter that conversation with nothing but love. And then peace will follow.
We're all on this
and it doesn't matter if they disagree with you.
We're all on this crazy journey together, guys. We know that life has its highs and life has its lows. And the last thing we need is to be beating each other down as well. Like, it's just, life's hard enough. I'm
glad we talked about this. I feel
if this whole thing can bring reasonable people together, because that's who this is appealing to. It's making reasonable people draw a line in the sand on what is now truly in their face unreasonable, then that is the greatest kind of legacy that he could leave behind, is that it really does have a lasting impression. And hopefully multiple people will go around college campuses and do that kind of stuff.
Hit the bricks, guys. Future. Next, we're gonna go on a college tour. Fuck it.
There you go.
we've cracked it. All right. We know
think
how
so.
the middle ground. I think the middle ground pisses people off more than honestly either other
Oh, it
side.
does.
Because people
I
are,
think
They
people are like,
hate-
because
"Choose
they
a
yes.
want us
fucking
to be
side."
fully on one side or the
Yes.
other. And I'm never,
I-
I have so many people, they're like, damn, I can't figure you out. What are you? And I'm just
Yeah.
like,
I've had people
in the
straight
middle.
up say that. When I was in punk rock, people would be like, literally to my face, say, "You people in the middle are the problem," and I'm just like, yeah, the ones that don't want to go to war, we're the problem. Interesting. Okay, see ya.
Yeah, no, we're all enigmas, I guess, but
Yep.
I'm fine with that. I accept that.
Like you're
And,
speaking like you're like a Sith. You speak in
I didn't-
absolutes, you know.
yeah, and by the way, I didn't see the long walk, guys, so I couldn't have added anything to that anyway. I didn't see
yeah,
it.
I think we're going to
I
end
think-
it with this.
I think one of the reasons why it kind of sort of came up and kind of even blends in with this issue is that it got great reviews. It bombed. I mean, 11.5 million at the box office for the reviews. And Stephen King came out and said some ugly stuff and then retracted it and has been very contrite on Twitter. So I think it sort of kind of ties into what we're talking about here. I don't know if it has a direct correlation, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I did see that it kind of underperformed. I know the budget was modest, so it probably will still turn a profit. But let that be a lesson to literally any of you. Before you have the facts, put the fucking phone down. Like just put it down. Like before
down.
just put it down. Like I
Touch
don't know.
grass.
That's you just get the facts first. I
Go to the
literally
lake.
like anytime. Well, it was happening all over the place the day after.
Yeah.
People on both sides were claiming wild shit that didn't end
Yeah.
up being true. And I'm like, it's
No.
crazy. Maybe we should take a couple days before we say
Yeah.
wild shit. Like, let's get some
There's an
facts
urge
first.
to just get out there and do it. Yeah.
Everybody just run in your living room and dance naked. That's all you got to do. And then you'll get through all this, you know?
I got to the point where I was like, I'm not even going to share like my opinion because I don't think I'm that smart of a person. So what I can do is if I come across a video that's a very reasonable video of him, or just a video of him that's talking to somebody, I'm like, I'll just share that in my story and somebody can watch it if they want to.
Super
I don't need to
Tenor,
go out there and tell people what to believe in.
Super
it out.
Tenor, he's been watching my videos for years. You know I love you, dude. And I hope you understand where I was coming from. I feel like I was very much trying to be like, guys, we're all a fucking problem right now.
Yeah.
The landscape is a problem. We have to fix that. So
It's like the comedian says in Watchmen, it's all a big fucking joke.
Yeah.
I don't believe that, but it's a funny line.
it's all a fucking puppet show.
Yeah.
And we're getting played, man. We're all getting played. And the moment we realize that,
The
I'm not
reasonable people have to step forward. There's got to be far more of us than the brainwashed.
Yeah.
There are, dude.
Like I have to believe that, so we have to feel comfortable talking. Yeah.
There's three factions in this country, y'all. 20% on the left, 20% on the right, 60% in the fucking no.
I
And
think
like,
there's more in the middle than we think.
yes, 100%. Why do you think elections every 4 years are up in the air? Because the largest voting block is people that don't identify with either side. Like, if if it was truly 50-50, then every election would be like, all right, well, going to just come down to the wire, a couple votes here and there. Like, no, it's about convincing the people in the middle.
There's the old SNL skit that I think it's from way back when, like 88, and it's like election 88, America flips a coin. It's like
that's how it would be always.
You've seen the South Park episode, right? The huge douche and
Yeah.
turd sandwich.
Oh yeah.
yes, yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
I feel like I don't give a shit who you were in 2016. No matter what side of the aisle you were on, I think most people were like, "Really, bro? Like,
This is what I got.
I have to choose? Do I have to?"
I've been there.
Well, hello there. You just watched an outrageous clip from the Hit the Bricks podcast. I really hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to see more clips, you can click here or you can click here. And you can just have yourself a ball, all right? And also follow the Hit the Bricks podcast on Spotify as well. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful day.